we had the reveal of Nier Automata coming to Switch. Or sorry, according to the trailer, it's actually called Nier Automata.
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 Yeah. So this is actually one of the best games of the last generation. It's got a massive following. It's a brilliant title. It did have performance issues on PlayStation 4. Now it's coming to Switch. Yeah, John, how do you think this one has been achieved?
So, obviously, the game has improved a little bit over time in terms of optimization. I believe I only played the Xbox version on a more powerful Xbox, but from what I understand, the Xbox One original is like 900p, like the PS4 version. So it's kind of comparable.
Right, okay.
So we're kind of in that situation where it's almost like a Doom 2016 kind of situation, where those games are targeting 60 FPS on those consoles. So coming to Switch, then it's pretty easy to start by having the frame rate, which is what they've done. And according to one of their tweets, they're suggesting that it's 1080p native docked and 720p portable, but half the frame rate, and obviously with visual cutbacks as well.
Wow, because it didn't look 1080p in the trailer.
It did not. So the question then is, when developers specify this stuff, you have to take it with a grain of salt, right? Like, they could very well just be saying this is the target output from the system. That's not the actual rendering resolution. Obviously, we'll have to find out when we get our hands on it what the actual res is. So, which we can do.
Yeah. I mean, it does seem like a rather compromised port from what I saw, but at the same time, it seemed to have the major beats in there. But at the same time, I do wonder to what extent they have pared back beyond the frame rate alone. I seem to recall that the game had this galactically expensive global illumination solution on the consoles and on the PC. And on the PC side, there was actually, I think Alex pointed out that there was a mod that pared it back with very little impact to the quality, which dramatically improved performance. So maybe there are optimizations there, but it does strike me as somewhat optimistic to suggest that Nier, or was it Automata? Automata? I can't remember.
Automata, yeah.
Automata. Yeah, it does strike me as somewhat optimistic that it's running at 1080p, even with half the frame rate compared to a PlayStation 4.
Yeah, I agree.
And the evidence of my own eyes suggests that something's up there. But, it's another one of these games where I think, it's going to work out pretty well on the Switch. And simply the ability to have it as a portable experience, that's kind of always the saving grace, as long as the performance is consistent, right?
I'm actually curious how it runs on Steam Deck, given that the PC version was kind of notorious for issues. But I assume, well, I mean, do you guys have any experience with that?
I haven't tested it, to be honest with you, John.
I'm wondering.
You'd think that a machine that could run Cyberpunk fairly well could do Nier Automata.
You'd think.
Yeah, you'd hope so, right?
That game is definitely weird in terms of performance, but I will say though, I'm happy that they've opted to actually do a port rather than a cloud version, because I feel like I'm not a fan of the cloud versions, especially the way it works on Switch is really bad. Like, you don't have a good experience. It's like watching a low bitrate YouTube video that has stuttering.
Right, because this is a Square Enix title, right? And traditionally they have gone down the cloud route for their more advanced titles, right?
They have. But I guess the thing to consider is that the actual technical development of this game was done by Platinum Games, who does have experience with the Switch hardware. So I can see why they would probably, not only would they deem it possible, but given some of the situations with Platinum over the last couple of years or so, I assume they wanted the work.
Right.
Uh-huh. Like why would you not? So I'm sure they were like, yes, we can port it, no problem, we'll do it.
Well, I'll be really looking forward to taking a look at that. I believe it's October that's coming out, something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll definitely be all over that once we've got code in our hands.